If you had to pick one, whom would you have in your team, Saka or Rashford? Who is the better player out of these two? They both have been important players for Manchester United and Arsenal respectively. Saka is untouchable at the Emirates, while Rashford seems to have rediscovered his form under Erik ten Hag. The two were arguably the most informed players last season, and particularly after the World Cup in Qatar. They were the main men for their clubs and almost single-handedly powered their respective teams to a very interesting title race in the second half of the Premier League campaign. They impressed during England's 2022 World Cup campaign against Qatar. In fact, they were the best players for the Three Lions in a campaign that ended in the quarter-finals against France. They scored 3 goals each and were the nation's team joint top scorers. Even though England did not go further than the quarter-finals, the two players made sure they brought their insane form back to club football. Rashford exploded post-World Cup, and by February, just 2 months after the Qatar tournament, he'd scored 10 goals and provided 1 assist, and Saka, on the other hand, had managed 5 goals and 2 assists in the league. They were the most informed players. Rashford was banging goals against the likes of Man City, Arsenal and Leicester, and Saka responded with strikes against Man U, Man City, and provided an assist against North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur. The two stars could potentially rise to dominate the league, and there is hope that they can lead their respective teams to glory this season. And it's an inspiring story, rising from the incessant bullying and racial abuse following the Euro 2020 final in Wembley. The abuse affected them, but they have overcome it together to become the brightest stars for England at the World Cup and Premier League too. There is no doubt that the two are destined for the top, but the question is, who is the better player? Since they are both attacking players, we start with goals. This one area where Rashford is way clear of Saka. During the 2022-23 season, for instance, the Man United star scored 30 goals in all competitions, while Saka managed 14 goals and provided a further 11 assists. In total, Rashford has scored over 130 competitive goals, which is almost double what Saka has managed, and this clearly sees him dwarf his England counterpart. Their goal contributions, though, translate to just a little over 1 goal contribution every 2 games they have played in their careers. Very impressive, you must admit. Let's take a look at the two players' versatility. One of the key reasons why the two have become household names in the league is because of their ability to play in different positions and adapt to different systems comfortably. They can play in different positions on the pitch, which makes them incredibly useful to any coach and so much unpredictable for their opponents. Saka is comfortable playing in a number of roles. He, however, features mostly as a right winger, but has over the years shown he can fit into other roles. When Arsenal faced injuries to Kieran Tierney and Sead Kolsonic, the England international did so well in the left-back position, so well to the point where speculations he could be called up to the England senior squad for that role. He can also play on the left of the midfield more as a left wing-back. Rashford, on the other hand, can play anywhere up front. He prefers the left wing position though, but has shown he can play comfortably as a striker and pretty sufficiently as a right winger. Unlike Saka, the 24-year-old can also play as a supportive striker and even as a number 10. Saka, though, brings something to the table that Rashford cannot, his ability to defend. Well, putting this into consideration, it makes his numbers for goals and assists even more impressive. On who is the more versatile player of the two, we will leave that to you to decide. How about their abilities? The two players are almost of a similar height, but Rashford is 2 inches taller than his England teammate, and in all honesty, you can tell he puts his height advantages to good use. Rashford, without a doubt, is miles better than Saka in the air. But on the flip side, when it comes to putting those balls in the air, Saka is the better of the two. The two are not the best dribblers in the world, but they manage to do it comfortably nevertheless. It's hard to pick between the two who does it better, but thanks to his close control and ability to easily beat opponents with feints and stepovers, Saka edges Rashford on this one. When it comes to speed though, Rashford is by far the faster of the two. The two players can score screamers, wonder goals if you may, but for the ability to strike the ball well with power will definitely go to Rashford. But for brilliance and finesse, Saka once again tops Rashford. One other area that Rashford is definitely the better of the two is in the free kick department. The Man United star has scored magnificent free kicks over the years and is almost always the club's first choice. Saka though is a good penalty taker, and even though Rashford often finds the target in similar fashion, we can all agree that the Gunner star is the better one in the area. Defending and tracking back is a crown that's worn by Saka. We've already mentioned that he's played as a left back before, meaning he automatically is better than his Man United counterpart. But who is the better finisher? Without a doubt, Rashford is, but Saka's definitely the better passer of the ball, the better crosser, and more confident on the ball. The two players are creators for their respective teams, and clearly this is one area that is almost a tie between them. But we will lean towards Saka more because naturally, from his position, he creates slightly more chances compared to Rashford. Saka also has better stamina, even though Rashford is the stronger of the two. Perhaps another key area we could compare the two is their importance to respective clubs. Who is more important to their teams? If this question was raised 2 or 3 seasons ago, it would have been an easy choice: Rashford. His name has always been among the first on the team sheet for Manchester United. He's been that good. However, the same can be said of Saka in recent seasons. Under Mikel Arteta, Saka has grown as a player and his importance cannot be matched. For the 3rd season running, Saka has been the Gunners' most important player, and that might not change anytime soon. He's the best among the lot. He won Arsenal Player of the Season award for 2 seasons running, 2020 to 2021 and 21 to 2022. He was narrowly beaten by Martin Odegaard last season, but still he was impressive. We could continue exploring more on each of the two players' individual strengths and weaknesses, but it's pretty obvious they seem to balance each other out. Since they both play attacking roles, they could make perfect teammates, and England is lucky to have them. They are so good that you can't categorically pick one without the other, having to think twice. We wish we could pick out the better player between the two, but it's difficult. We throw the question to you: who would you rather have on your team, Saka or Rashford? Drop us a comment below and let us know who between Saka and Rashford is the better player and why.